I'm just a massive fan of Pringles. I'm not sponsored by them. I'd really like to be sponsored by them though, so Pringles, let me know. I also look a little bit like Julius, so I think it'd be a good match.
Like and subscribe!
Five, four, three, two, one, way to go!
This was the big race of my season. This is the one that I'd been looking forward to and the one that I'd thought about every time I'd gone out on my bike for the last year and a half. I last rode this race 20 years ago when I was 16. I came something like 20th that year and Adam Blythe won. The plan this time was to come back and win, or at the very least improve on that result. But it didn't happen and it didn't go well and I messed it up. I've started racing this year after a long break of 19, 20 years. I've been trying to make my bike as fast as possible. I got a new bike at the start of the year, a second-hand Canyon Ultimate. It works really well, but I've just been trying to optimise it as much as possible. I've been switching between a 50 and a 55 tooth oval aero chainring. I kind of bought into the oval chainring thing, thinking of going away from it now, but it was a good thing to try out, and I think a lot of the time you do have to try these things out for yourself. For the race I needed to switch back to the 55 tooth chainring. For some bizarre reason I decided that I should take the cranks off to do this, rather than, I don't know why I didn't just take the chainring off, because you can do, but I took the whole crankset off, undid it all and just pulled it straight out, and it just snapped the 3D printed chain catcher straight off. Just snapped it in half. I tried frantically to go around the local bike shops and find another, but couldn't. Nobody had one. I then travelled up to the race, because I live about 250 miles away from this race, but we've got family up there. So when we got there, I went round all the bike shops there. Nobody had one. So I ended up gluing it back together. It seemed to work like that, and it was keeping it on. I went out for a nice warm-up ride, that was all fine, and then the descent that you saw at the start of this video, where I hit 60 miles an hour, I obviously hit a bump and it snapped off. I didn't realise at the time, and then when I've gone back to find it, hoping that it was there and I could glue it back together again, it was smashed into about 10 pieces. So that was it really. I tried that afternoon to make one out of metal brackets. But yeah, that didn't work. I didn't have my front derailleur with me. I'd left that at home. Ideally, I'd have put that on, but I didn't have it. I started the race with no chain catcher, which I knew at the time was a bad idea. I wasn't happy starting the race like that, but I thought it might be okay. And it wasn't. I was staying with it. I was just trying to sit in, and then bang, this moment happened. Looking back at it, it is quite well marked, or they've put some lines on the ground. Going really fast down this descent into the town centre, and I just didn't see it. I hit it, my chain came off. I didn't realise at the time, so my reaction is me starting to pedal and then realising that my chain's gone, which was a bit annoying. So I stopped, put it back on. I don't think it went on quite right. It took me a little bit longer than I was hoping. I think it got caught on the bolts or something like that. The announcer's calling out my name, telling everyone what's happened, which is great.
Making sure he stays safe. Meanwhile, just down directly in front of the stage, Jonathan Kennedy just having to get that chain back out. It's not the first chain we've seen him being lifted from the bike. He throws that chain back on again.
And I got going again. And I passed a few people that had been dropped off the back. And then this lad came past me and I managed to jump on his wheel. He'd obviously had a mechanical as well. I couldn't do anything to help. I just had to sit on his wheel. So I think I sat on his wheel for 2 laps and he did a monster effort. I really appreciate that. By the time I'd recovered and felt that it was time for me to do a turn and that I could actually do one, I came through and he just pulled off and retired from the race, I think, straight away. So I think he'd given it everything he could, which is fair enough. But I'd put quite a lot of effort in to get to the race, and like I say, I'd thought about it for a long time. So I was like, right, I'm going to keep going. I never made it back on. I think the bunch was just going so fast. When it's a group of 100 riders, 120 I think started the race, you're not really going to be able to get back on your own. I don't think I'm fit enough to do that either. We got in a group with a few other fellas and we worked together a bit, but it was never going to be a good result after that. So I came in at 68th. Not really happy with that, but it happens. I'm going to get rid of the stupid oval chain rings. I've had enough of them. I don't know, I don't really feel the benefit of them, and it just seems to cause more problems than it's worth. The lesson is to always have a spare chain catcher, because if I'd have had one I could have just replaced it and that would have stopped my chain from coming off. So it's such a simple thing that ruined the race. It was still good fun, still enjoyed it. I just need to put more effort into being a bike mechanic in future. I've got a bit of a problem with Pringles. I don't know, there's something about them where they just seem completely addictive. I need to stop eating them. Is it bad for me? Will that be affecting my performance, do you think? Too many crisps? Trying to do as much as I can to optimise myself and my bike and everything else. Pringles seems to be the one thing that I'm struggling with. Is it a big deal? Do I need to sort that out to get better? Let me know. Like and subscribe!
Thank you very much to our riders and to our racers. Really appreciate it. It's hardly a 50 second where the race is accurately with count.
Did you not hear them saying that? They called me out. I was in front of the commentary thing and it was going, oh, John Kennedy's got his chair now. Trying to get it back on.